Você sabia, direitista, que o país com melhor qualidade de vida aí é administrado por um governo de centro-esquerda? Esse espectro político chama-se social-democracia e eu separei um vídeo para explicar isso na prática.
And yeah.
All right. So you want to ask me a question?
Yeah. So yeah, just introduce yourself and what country you're from, and tell us about the healthcare system, the education system, and how it works,
Alright.
in your country.
My name is Wolf. I'm a Danish citizen. That means I'm from Denmark. I live in Copenhagen. We have probably one of the best working welfare systems on the planet. We get free public healthcare. We get free education from, what do you call that over here? The first grade until you're done with your master's. So that means that even bachelor's, master's degrees are paid by the state. You don't get student loans unless you want to take care of your utilities and stuff like that and rent. But tuition is paid by the government, or by the state, I should say. They even actually give us a stipend while we're in college for 5 or 6 years, depending on the degree, which is actually enough to cover most people's rent. But healthcare is completely public. Of course, we pay for it through our taxes, but we don't have deductibles, or what is the other thing you call it over here? Like deductibles and what else?
I don't.
Well, there's no fees.
Co-pays.
Yeah. There's no fees. Everything is just paid by taxes, and it's every single citizen. So you don't have to register anywhere. It's simply even if you, as an American, visit Denmark for half a year, they're gonna take care of you because you're a resident there. That's how it works over there. So if you get sick, nobody's gonna evict you. Nobody's gonna do anything else. You're basically taken care of from when you're born until the day you die. Yeah.
And what would you say? What's the result of this? Like, what are the?
Forgot to bring that back up. Yeah, continuously, since I'm not sure if it's the UN or whoever it is that's doing these polls, but it's some program under the UN, I believe. They've been checking which populations are the happiest on the planet, and Denmark has been the happiest, like I think 7 out of the last 10 times or so. And I am convinced, and I think a lot of Danes are convinced, that the welfare system is a big part of that. And most Danes, even though we pay a lot of taxes, we do pay them happily, because we do see the benefits of these taxes, because we have an incredibly safe society. Nobody's, if they get fired from work, we have very high benefits as well, and what do you call that when you're jobless? What do you call that over here?
Unemployed.
Unemployed. So you get what you call unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
They're very, very high as well back home. Senior citizens are taken care of by the state. Everything is just, nobody's really threatened in any way. If you're living on the street in my country, it's basically because you want to. And there's, of course, people over there who thinks we're paying too much in taxes, but nobody's really questioning the free public health care, or that even college tuition should be paid by the state.
And how much are you in debt right now?
I have 0 debt, and I own my own apartment, and I'm still in school.
Great. All right, cool. And do you know anyone in student loan debt in your country?
No. Well, there is this thing. We're getting the stipend from the state, so we can get a little extra if we want to have it as a loan. But that's for people who, for some reason, are not working while they're doing college. Most people are, because we also like to drink alcohol back home, So if you want to hit the bars, you definitely need a bit more money. But you can definitely, from the stipend, if you're not living in Copenhagen where I'm living, if you're living in one of the smaller cities, it's definitely possible to actually live off your stipend for all 5 years.
What brought you out? What brought you to the States?
What brought me to the States right now?
Yeah.
Well, I want to get Bernie elected. I'm a huge burner, as you can see. I'm here in the New York, or here helping out with the New York primary for 2 weeks. And I'm a huge fan of Bernie, and I'm really the thing is, and that probably shows a bit about what I was saying before, politics back home, the major issue is how much do we actually want to do for the environment? Do we want to do extremely much for it, or a little bit less for our environment? So wind energy and stuff like that is really huge over there. So we're discussing how much money we should spend on that compared to other, sustainable energy sources. Another thing we're discussing is whether and how high or how big the economic incentive for getting off of welfare should be. So the economic incentive to actually get a job, how high that should be. That's like the major issues over here. Whereas over here, you guys, politics here are about like, should people die in the streets if they get sick, you know? So over here it feels like you're really fighting the big moral battle, and that's why I think it's a lot easier to get excited about American politics. And what might interest your friends on Facebook is the fact that back home I'm actually voting to the right of the middle, but over here I'm still considered a radical leftist. So Bernie would be like mainstream back home, but I feel a lot of Danes and a lot of Europeans are very solidaric with his message, and for it even to be an issue, whether or not people should have free public health care is a question unfathomable to a lot of Europeans, I think.
Cool, man. Anything else?
I think we're good.
Great. Awesome. Thanks.